2017 Hot 6 GSL Season 1 cOs.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the GSL cOs. We are here in the round of 8 with a packed-out studio full of fans here in Seoul, South Korea. Welcome. We are not sOs. My name is Rapid. With me is Brandon Vlades.
How many names am I going to have by the end of my casting career? That's the real question.
Well, it's good to be back here at the GSL. This is my second GSL broadcast. I think you have a few more under your belt.
Yeah, I think I've done like maybe 10 or something like that. Maybe
God.
like 5 to 10. It's always a lot of fun, especially, sOs, they're like, see you guys, we're going to Poland, and then they're like, hey, you want to cast like some of the sickest StarCraft in the world? I'm like,
it's like, you do realize this is like an unfair trade, right? Oh my God. All right, well, let's talk about why it is just that unfair, because there's so much StarCraft going on right now. cOs round of 8, that's where you guys are at right now. That's where we're at right now here on Wednesday. Of course, coming up tomorrow and for the next 4 days after that will be the IEM World Championships in Katowice.
Yeah, and then of course you can see as March rolls around, you got round of 4 of cOs, and then the finals on the 25th, and then the Super Tournament. Season 1 will start in April. So lots of StarCraft coming your way.
Yeah, so tons of stuff going on. Really excited for the Super Tournament. More and more details coming out about that, of course, as the time draws nigh. But here are the details you guys actually care about. Surprising upsets on Wednesday. Sue taking the reverse all kill over TY, and the same thing happening in Stats versus Innovation. Terran doing pretty good right now until you get to the best Terrans, and then for some reason it just doesn't apply anymore. Sue and Stats move on.
Don't know what happened there. Some crazy reverse all kills, but we are going to have the 2 matchups tonight, as you guys did just see. herO's versus sOs, and then Ryung versus Maru. There will be only 1 Terran in the round of 4.
But at least 1 Terran will make it out,
yes.
Vlades. I can't stop. Okay. All right, so herO versus sOs, Ryung versus Maru. I want off Mr. GSL's wild ride, Brandon. It's just going to be...
Oh, man. Good start to the day today.
It's too good. I can't stop.
Man.
All right. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. I know, we are definitely not sOs. You guys are going to be getting your full dose of those guys later on at IEM. Let's go ahead and check out a video about today's players.
점추노의 향수를 좀 불러일으킬 수 있었던 돌개바람이 좀 괜찮았던 것 같아요. 컨트롤도 깔끔하게 됐고, 옛날부터 제가 컨트롤 위주의 게임을 많이 했는데 공허의 유산 와서는 좀 견제 위주의 플레이가 되다 보니까 좀 컨트롤이 많이 빛을 못 발했는데, 그래서 오늘 좀 방송에서 한번 보여드리고 싶어서 준비했는데 이렇게 컨트롤도 잘 되고 경기력도 좋았던 것 같아서
예술적입니다. 네, 타이밍은 여기서 놓치는 건 없죠. 그렇죠. 들어가서 하나 정리해 내려가는
형호와의 1세트는 첫 단추부터 잘못 끼어졌고 차간업을 실수하는 실수도 있었고, 그리고 다크템플러를 알았는데 파일럿을 안 지은 거나 여러 가지로 대처가 안 좋았고, 그리고 기회가 3번이 있었는데 마지막에도 컨트롤도 방심해서 너무 대충 하는 바람에 져버려가지고 최악의 경기였던 것 같아요. 제가 생각하면. 왜냐면은 상대는 최선을 다했고 거기서 저는 최선의 플레이를 못했기 때문에 제 잘못이었죠.
첫 번째 경기 마지막 세트가 제가 좀 불리했었는데 그래도 좀 판단을 잘 내려서 그래도 이길 상황을 만들었었는데 졌던 게 너무 아쉬웠던 것 같아요. 원래는 제가 예언자가 살아있어서 게시로 마인을 제거하면서 가야 되는 러시였는데 마인이 좀 계속 엉뚱한 위치에 있다 보니까 잡혀서 너무 우울했어요. 그 맵에서 다 불사도만 썼기 때문에 상대 선수가 좀 우주관문 맞춤식으로 플레이할 것 같아서 그냥 했던 것 같고, 살짝 아쉬운 점이 있었다면 제 처음에 분광기 갔을 때 거기에 바이킹이 서 있더라고요. 그것만 아니었으면 더 손쉽게 이길 수 있었는데 그 점이 살짝 아쉬웠어요.
깨고 자극제를 쓸 수 있지만 이제 해병이 없다라는 거.
틀이 무조건 제가 다 이길 거라는 생각 같은데 준호 잘하거든요. 그러니까 방심하지 않고 이길 수 있도록 준비하겠습니다.
2년 전인가? 예전에 했던 4강이 잊혀지지가 않는데 그 의분을 이번 시즌에 토해서 4강 무조건 갈 테니까 많이 응원해주세요.
준호야, 내가 왔어.
유진아, 내가 그렇게 빌었는데 네가 왜 오냐. 내 앞길 좀 그만 막자.
머리 어디서 했냐? 크크.
나도 처음 가본 곳이야. 이제 안 가려고.
조성주 안 만나려고 일부러 지는 클라스.
어떻게 알았지?
프로토스는 머리만 좋으면 이긴다.
너가 해봐.
전판에 했던 것 또 하는 이유. 사기이기 때문에.
심리전이지. 네가 하면 안 통하는데.
김유진, 김준호를 만나기 위한 큰 그림인가?
나는 1등이 더 좋았는데 결과적으로는 뭐
피지컬은 프로토스 중 김준호가 원탑.
인정.
여러분, 프로토스가 이렇게 사기입니다.
그건 아닌 것 같은데 내가 사기야.
쟤는 여우 같아서 별로임.
내가 얼마나 착한데.
상대가 동원이니까 이긴 거야. 신형이랑 했으면 안 돼.
신형이냐?
준호가 유일한 약점은 그 말목.
인정한다. 누가 컴퓨터 좀 알려줘라.
김유진은 죽어라 싫어하네. 크크.
맨날 말하지만 유진이를 사람으로 싫어하진 않아. 얼마나 좋아하는데.
When it still burns and the fire here inside me wasn't enough when we said love. Can you see that there was never
네, 아이의 월챔 이후 이어지고 있는 악역.
Alright,
네,
so
끝날 때가
thank you very
됐습니다.
much for
자,
staying
제
tuned
양옆으로
during our
나와
pros
계신
read mean
김준호
tweet
선수와
segment.
김유진 선수.
Really love that.
안녕하세요.
Let's go ahead and get into our interview
안녕하세요.
with our two players,
네, 자,
herO
활기차게
and
시작해보겠습니다.
sOs.
자, 토요일 그 낮이에요. 컨디션 괜찮으세요?
네.
So
좋았는데
it's
차가 너무 많이
daytime, very
막혀가지고
early here on Saturday.
그게 좀안 좋았고,
How's your day?
근데 경기는
Saying, well, my day's been going pretty well, but
네.
traffic was really bad today, so it's kind of tiring getting to the
네,
studios.
자신감 좋습니다.
herO saying, yeah, I've been actually practicing a lot lately, so it doesn't really matter how tired I am.
강한 상대를 만나서
So SOS, how's your
많이
condition?
긴장되네요.
강한 상대다
Saying,
말씀을 하셨습니다. 확실히
My condition's really good, but my opponent's actually really strong.
그래도 참 친하신 게 신기한데.
So yeah, you two have really you two have really weird relationship. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the history
서로의 스코어에서
of your
김준호 선수.
스코어요?
relationship? Because I think you're 8 and 14 so far.
유진이를 상대로 깨달은 점이 많기 때문에 오늘
So you're talking about our history, but even though my history versus SOS is, you know, a worse match score than his,
좋네요. 오늘 어떻게 예상하세요?
that's why I want to beat him 3-0 today, so that he'll know how I felt.
항상 좀 업그레이드 돼서 오더라고요.
네.
그래서 무섭기는 한데
SOS said, yeah, I can also feel whenever I meet herO, he upgrades his play every single time. He gets better and better.
3대0 이렇게 예상을 하고 계시는데요. 자, 오늘 이제 유일한 프로토스가 될 선수를
But SOS says he has the same goal where he wants to make it 3-0. He wants to really defeat herO. These guys obviously big rivals at this point. So any words for herO before we start the match? Well, I don't think the match is going to be easy,
네, 자, 상성을 이어가시겠다고 이렇게 해주셨어요.
but I hope the result is the same as it always is, and I take the win.
적게 제가 속아 넘어가서 3대0으로 졌는데
네.
오늘은
Hero
안
saying,
넘어가고 눈구렁이처럼 이겨보도록
SOS always
네,
always
알겠습니다.
taking pity on me and
GSL에서의 패배,
saying things
그
like that, but I'm not really going to follow up on that. I'm just going to bring my strongest play today in hopes of winning. So let's see how they play today.
All right, that's going to do it for our player interview Lots of fans out there of both of these players. Of course, very insanely detailed histories. You can see both how they got here and their win rates coming up right there. When it comes to their win rates against each other, of course, SOS winning out, of course, in key moments there as well. But coming into today's games, I know a lot of people actually think that herO is, like SOS said earlier, always seems like he gets a little bit of an upgrade every time they face off.
And I know a lot of people are expecting SOS to take this one, but as SOS said himself, and as you were just talking about herO, he's definitely come to play. I was in the makeup room and he said that he actually came a little bit late today because he had to deal with some stuff with his puppy. Was having some issues. I didn't really hear exactly what was the issue, but I'm sure it's just okay. Maybe he just had to take care of it. But he made it here. He's on time. And as he said, he's not really, he doesn't really care that he got here late or that he's, it's tired. It's early on a Saturday, right? Because it's really early for nerds, right? We started at 1 p.m. I mean, most of these guys don't even wake up at that time. So Gary was asking, are you guys okay? Like, are you awake at this time? Is it, are you ready to play? And herO was just like, yeah, I just practice so much that it's basically just,
he's like fall asleep at his keyboard. His hands just do it itself.
Subconsciously just defeat SOS.
That's how it works. I wish that's the way it worked for casting too. He's like, turn off my brain and just cast. Unfortunately,
we just need a rapid bot here.
Rapid bot and tasteless bot.
Going head-to-head on the cast.
No, Valdez bot.
Well, that's a possibility to tasteless
We're,
bot.
we're just like budget tasteless, classic artosis.
Classic artosis. Yeah. We're wearing the same grandpa jackets that they do.
That is true. I think this is more of like a professor jacket, and that's more of like a grandpa jacket.
I see a lot of Korean grandpas wearing this kind of jacket, actually. So I guess it makes sense.
This is the Ajishi casting
I don't know
duo.
what the theme was. It's like, okay, now both Tasteless and Artosis are over 30, so we got to put them in more mature clothes for the broadcast.
It's like before that they were dressing them up like skaters, like punk rockers, but as soon as you hit 30, no man, it's straight to the grandpa jackets. That's how it works. So we should actually probably talk a little bit about StarCraft because that game is in the process of being set up. I think we're going to have another video before we get all the way there. But, we've got 2 best-of-5 series here in the round of 8. SOS versus herO. I was thinking herO, but then I was like, wait, there's 2 herOs. Which one is it? It's the one with a lowercase h and a capital O.
So you gotta have the emphasis as you go. It's like herO. Something like that.
That's the way
the other
it works.
one is like herO.
That's why when you say rapid, you're supposed to yell every sound but the I. I don't know how you would do that. The more I learn Korean, the more I learn you're supposed to add emphasis to a lot of the double letters, and then all of a sudden just take it off. I still don't know how to do that.
I heard that was the hardest part for especially Americans, native English speakers, I should say, is the double consonants. Yeah, I still have hard.
I just say them a lot more loudly than the other ones. Either way, so SOS versus herO will be coming up today. I'm actually really excited about that because while we are here at GSL, Tasteless and Artosis are heading to IEM Katowice, a tournament that means a lot to the 2 players that are playing here in our first match. 2 years ago, not quite to the day, but back when SOS was really continuing his rise up there in the standings. Of course, some big global fans out there.
New York.
The people from
represent
Brennan's hometown.
Although they don't have headsets, so we can't communicate with them.
There's actually a lot of foreign fans out there today, so whether you're watching live here in the studio.
That's hilarious. Actually, let's go Innovation and TY with the slowpoke.
Sickest memes.
Perfect.
All right, glad we got some dank memes in the chat, in the studio, and of course a lot of people watching from everywhere out there, online or here. We are happy to have you guys here today, whether you're just watching because this is a new NA-friendly time zone, or if you're a hashtag big fan. Here are your maps coming up for today. Of course, SOS banning Whirlwind, Proxima Station, the ban there for herO, coming up with our first map as Newkirk Precinct.
Yeah, and then we go into Echo, and then Cactus Valley, Daybreak, and then Abyssal Reef. Nobody wanted to choose that map. It's number 5. We'll see if we get there. And so what are your predictions here, Rapid? What are you thinking?
Well, Brendan, I went to Team Liquid today, so I'm just going to quote their predictions.
I don't know if you should do that after Wednesday. I don't know,
man. Wednesday is when all the pundit nerds hide back in their holes.
Oh yeah.
That's when they go into the Cave of Birds. If you guys have ever read Dune? It's a sick reference, but either way.
You and Tasteless just keep talking about that book.
It's literally so good. All right, I actually think herO has a really, really good chance. I've been hanging out a lot with herO's teammate Kelzer over at the Pro Gaming House. He says he's super good, so I trust that. And sOs, even though this is coming off the anniversary of his boppening of herO back in the IM Katowice Grand Finals 2 years ago, a lot has changed since then. We're not playing Legacy of the Void, or we're not playing Heart of the Swarm. It's Legacy of the Void time, and herO has been looking super, super solid. So really expecting a lot out of him, and possibly even a reverse all-kill win if Wednesday's matches are any trend.
Could happen. Definitely could happen, especially in a matchup like PvP. You could have, some really fast games, and then maybe it slows down for another macro game in game 2. And, both of these players are very, very good at this matchup as well. So, wouldn't be surprised if it does go the distance. Of course, as we mentioned before, we've got ryong versus Maru for the second matchup today. So, 2 mirror matchups today. If you're a Zerg player, stay tuned. We'll get those next week.
Yeah, Zerg had their moment when Sue was able to take out TY earlier. But for our matchup today, it's going to be a PvP best of 5 here in the GSL round of 8 to find out which player will advance to that coveted semi-final spot. We want to thank you guys for joining us here very early on Saturday in Korea, but it's a great time for NA viewers, so get out there and spread the word. The GSL is going on at a time everybody can watch it. Of course, everybody can always watch it because it's broadcast on Twitch and Freaka and TV here in Korea and basically everywhere. So you literally have to close your eyes to not watch the GSL. But keep them open because here we go. Game number 1.
Living grounds, bitter days, but we've gotta keep on moving. Reason fades on, doubts decay. Hope can always do the soothing.
Here we go. Our Protoss player.
herO.
All right, well, there's 2 Protoss players, but that one is herO in the blue, and across Newkirk Precinct in the red, his opponent. Okay, I thought the pylon warping and sound was the intro for
Jin Air Green Wings, sOs.
All right, I got it the second time.
I love how whoever's doing the voiceover kind of sounds like a robot a little bit. It really fits the Protoss versus Protoss theme.
Lots of robots there. And what's this, Valdez?
Huh. Interesting.
How'd that get there? All right, herO go-go semifinal. Well, he might be go-going there a little bit ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic pylon placement.
This is really interesting that he starts off the match like this. And in a best of 5, you take game number 1 and you go with this crazy all-in cannon rush.
This is so sick.
And sOs, he hasn't scouted yet. He's going double gate to start, but he has no idea that this is happening right now.
Yeah. Okay, well, more fans of herO here. I think you guys are beginning to see why. There are the first 2 cannons in the base here, and already you can see that sad scouting probe is trying to check out what's happening. Surprise! Heard you guys like cannons.
And you see that he can't get near the pylons just yet, but he's going to have to try. But herO, he's going to start a cannon right there on the right side that should be protected by the cannon that is on the low ground. He's even brought a second probe over here. This might just be too late. This is going to be a very hard hold for sOs. There's
no way to unpower those pylons. There is a Zealot out, so Zealots are great because they do a high, melee DPS, but they're going to be vulnerable to the cannon on the low ground there. So more and more being built here in the base. herO has 2 probes here, so it's even going to be very difficult to take those out. And the first in-base pylon or in-base cannon is going to finish.
And just perfect canceling too, forcing sOs to commit to trying to surround the cannon and then just canceling it right before it goes down. Now the gateway is being shelled just because of the positioning here. Already 2 cannons are getting to work there. And even making a cannon back at home just in case sOs tries to run any units by. Look at that gateway already very, very low. It's going to go down here.
Yeah, that gateway will fall. There is a Stalker out, but of course that is not going to quite cut it against 3 cannons. And of course that in range of the in-base pylon as well there by the Nexus. So, these cannons are just going to push further and further out. What do you really do to deal with this, Valdez?
Well, the overcharge is a good first step, but that cannon already doing a nice bit of damage to the pylon. He's getting to work on the cannon on the left side, and he actually does take it out without losing any units. But now the overcharge is done. There are still 2 cannons in the base.
So how many gateways do we have in this game for sOs?
Well, he's going up to 3, it looks like.
Okay.
And he's making an expansion at the third base location.
Just as far away from the pylon and cannons as possible. I mean, that Stalker's going to be able to at least poke things down, so this will not be quite as easy a game to win. But a Robo actually already on the way here for sOs, so this is going to be an interesting way to think about coming back from this. He's behind, but also keep in mind there's actually just no units here for herO in his base.
His tech is so far behind.
Yeah.
Everything is so far behind because of the rush that he went for. He doesn't even have an expansion. He is only getting a Cybernetics core now in his first Stalker. There's already, I think, 2 Stalkers out, maybe just 1 for sOs, but he also has the Mothership core, the robotics facility on the way, and even a Zealot in the main base of herO being pretty annoying.
Yeah, annoying too, and also eventually herO will actually need units to play the game here. He's just getting out his first Stalker right now, and a Mothership core on the way for him as well, so he will have that base defense. But, I mean, this will actually be pretty easy at this point for sOs to hold on. That Pylon Overcharge came in at such a good time to kill off one of the last cannons in the base. The second one got taken out by Stalkers, and here we go, unpowering those 2 cannons and really cleaning out his base.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just a 1 game for sOs, and this is part of the reason why you don't really see this strategy being used that often. You don't see cannon rush. It was kind of like an ultra cheese, you'll never expect it kind of cheese. And even though he didn't expect it, he was still able to hold it with that perfectly timed overcharge. And, just getting that Stalker out ASAP. As long as he can hold off any aggression here from herO, he should be totally fine. And, I mean, 5 Stalkers to 1, all he has to do is run them down to his base, and I think herO might just GG out.
Yeah, that is, in fact, only 1 Stalker. I know we were talking about doing troll math on the bunker earlier, but I can count to 1, and that is not enough Stalkers. Now, War Prism coming out here also from sOs, so he is just really going to be on point here. There's a Stargate just now completing for herO, so I don't know what unit that could produce to get him back into this game, because he is in a little bit of trouble. It's an Oracle.
Yeah, it's going to be an Oracle, but he already has so many Stalkers out. I'm not even sure if he has... Okay, he does have a Mothership core.
Okay, well, there goes the overcharge in the base just to push this out a little bit longer. But, I mean, there's already just so much for sOs. He has a second base up here as well. And I don't know how well that Oracle versus Stalker matchup is going to go for herO.
Even if he runs it across the map, or flies it rather, and tries to do a lot of economic damage, it's not going to be nearly as much as sOs will do. And here comes the push. I think there should be maybe 1 more overcharge. Just going to focus down the pylons.
Oh, he's actually going to catch that Stalker on the ramp. Yeah, this Immortal is basically immortal at this point. Pretty much nothing can kill that. I mean, it doesn't shoot up. So, I mean, this Void Ray that's coming out might be effective, but there's 5 Stalkers. So, I think it's going to be pretty okay for now.
Even if that Oracle kills every building in the base, I still don't think that'll be enough.
Well, also, as far as Oracles go, that would actually just take forever.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, the white ships are calling to carry you home, man. This is pretty dead. This is like watching those, I don't know, it's like some zombie movie where they're like refuse to die, so you shoot them in the head. But these are like the zombies that are weak to like the heart shots, not the head shots.
GG.
There we go. GG sOs. Surviving the cannon rush and taking game number 1.
Making it look easy, too. You know, there was a time there where I was a bit scared when the first couple of cannons got up in the base, but it turned out that he just kept his cool. I think he lost maybe 1 probe or something like that. He didn't lose much at all, didn't even lose his Zealot. Tried to send it across the map to do damage, waited until he could get the overcharge, the Stalker out to deal with the cannon rush. And by the time he held, herO was just too far behind.
Wow. Yeah, definitely caught me off guard. I'm sure sOs was not expecting that. Like you said, it's a great way to start things out. If you guys caught game number 1 of our Wednesday round of 8 series, Soup trying to try the same thing with like a super hardcore all-in Ravager rush. And I guess you can see the mindset's kind of similar. It's like, I'm going to try something super crazy right off the bat. If it doesn't work, there's still more games to come back.
Yeah, so we'll see if herO wants to change up his strategy going into game number 2. I would recommend it. I don't want to see another cannon rush, especially with how easily sOs was able to hold that one.
Protoss players are crazy these days, Brendan. We'll see if things get changed up here as we get into our second game. This is a best of 5, so if sOs takes this one, he'll be 1 game away from once again stomping out his longtime rival. Here we go, guys. Game number 2. here we go on herO. This is
Gaming herO.
our blue Protoss player. Lots of cheers. Big fans of herO out there. He's enjoyed quite a successful career. And his opponent in the red.
Jin Air Green Wings sOs.
sOs asked for green, but they're like, no, you have to pick between red and blue. Unfortunately, they do not match the colors of the players' teams.
What's closer to green, red or blue? I guess blue, right?
I mean, blue is made up. Blue literally has green in it. So
Wait,
I guess
it
that's,
does? I
Wait,
thought they were
no,
both
no,
like
wait.
all natural colors,
green,
right?
Green has blue in it.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go. Okay, I said
Blue
it
and
backwards.
yellow, right?
Oh yeah, yellow and blue make green.
You didn't do too much painting when you were younger?
Well, I did do painting. It wasn't with colors, but that was a dark time in my childhood.
Wait, what?
Either way, with the blood of my enemies.
With only black and gray. That's how
I
Rapid
was
paints.
definitely one of those nerds growing up. So, no cannons by either player's base, Valdez. I don't know how to cast a game like this.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I've never cast a PvP that was normal.
Dirty
But,
Protoss players.
Yeah, I mean, it should just be a pretty standard one. You guys can see some of the Legacy of the Void data down there at the bottom.
Yeah, this is where a lot of the rivalry comes from between these two players. Big fan of sOs for a long time, you know, the $100,000 man, and you can see it really reflected in their heads-up record. But I really did like that interview quote from sOs where he says every time he plays against herO, he seems to level up, and I think that's true for a lot of players who have these long, like, overtime rivalries, because you just definitely never know what to expect when you go up against them because they keep on improving. So I really have to watch the mini-map this time to see if there are any more like crazy pylon shenanigans, because that is a Stargate coming up. So
For both of these players even, so pretty much mirrored builds, except herO delays his Warp Gate research in favor of getting out an earlier Mothership core. So, you know, it's basically the same builds coming down to it. And we could see Phoenix versus Phoenix, or maybe one player decides to go Oracle and loses. It could happen. We'll have to wait and see.
yeah, I wouldn't expect to see an early Oracle here, because then you just like actually have a pretty rough time. You start to shed those salty Protoss tears when you see exactly what's coming your way. So will it be Phoenix or Oracle? Yeah, it's going to be Phoenix. So there they go. And yeah, pretty much exactly the same time. I think the Phoenix slightly faster for herO. But there goes sOs. He's going to find that sneaky probe, waiting to throw down either a pylon at the expansion or anything down there.
And you can see that sOs begins to transition right away, whereas herO, it seems like he is looking to take an expansion instead, whereas sOs, he's getting his robotics facility out, another gateway. Both these guys are going to be making a bunch of Phoenixes. Looks like herO gets the first information that sOs is going Phoenixes as well.
So we will see that, and at least he'll know what's coming. At this point, I don't think sOs really has any indication of quite what the build was. I mean, there's a pylon blocking that expansion, but sOs doesn't have one of its own, so it won't be too far behind. Wow, actually going for the overcharge to take that out. That's kind of interesting. Always want to reserve that sacred energy on the Mothership core, because now keep in mind, herO's Mothership core has been forced to use energy for recall and energy for overcharge. So I don't know if that'll be impactful coming up here in a little bit, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, especially if sOs wanted to get very aggressive, it would definitely make a difference. This is going to be herO coming on in here, trying to get the vision.
Does he see it? Yes, there is the Stargate, so we will know exactly what's coming his way.
Very nice. I was actually mixing up the two players here for quite a bit. I don't know how long that was going on. I thought herO was in the top left. Anyway, herO is in the bottom right. So
Yeah, sorry, I think I was actually doing that too.
yeah,
so.
I may have thrown you for a loop as well.
Whoa.
So bit of a mistake.
I
Sorry,
just say
guys.
everything Valdez says, guys. Okay, well, thankfully now we have we've righted the ship. sOs is in the red at the upper left-hand corner. Did I introduced the players right? Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. So it was herO actually that was getting the earlier tech.
Yes.
And that was sOs that wanted to go for the expansion but was delayed. And it ends up that both of the expansions finish at basically the same time here.
Okay. So basically, every word that we've said up to this point is not exactly all that informational. You're literally just watching two players do basically the same build. We'll see what the variations are, because right now there are a few. Oh, nice snipe there on the pro before it could even throw down a pylon.
Yeah, so able to get rid of that. And you can see with the earlier robotics facility, herO does have an observer right on top of the base of sOs.
Yeah, the in-game observers showing us that the Phoenix count now just barely evened up. 6-6, but one Phoenix ahead, it looks like, for SOS.
Oh, and look at this. This is where the big change happens. herO is going for Blink. SOS is committing to more Stargate units, more Phoenixes. Second Stargate coming down. And so herO has to be very careful not to lose his Phoenixes in a Phoenix War.
Okay, well, when it does come to the Phoenix War, that's actually when I really want to keep an eye on the control. Sometimes, you know, if you go to like super hardcore late game into the Phoenixes, get those what's the upgrade called, Anion Pulse Crystals, something like that,
Yep.
and that's when it's really cool to just watch like huge armies of Phoenixes. But like you said, yeah, herO's going to be transitioning into more of like a control-based play, going for these Blink Stalkers. And he actually said that in his interview earlier, where he's like, yeah, I actually play a lot of strategies that involve like really focusing on really good control. So Blink Stalkers will definitely do that.
Well, here comes herO's Phoenixes, and they are going to find a unit out of position when those Phoenix are not there to defend it. Picking up a Stalker, but they are about to run straight into the Phoenixes, and uh-oh, this is what I was talking about. All these Phoenixes are going to go down.
Yeah.
Not the best trade for herO.
You don't get to run away in a Phoenix versus Phoenix. It's kind of like Muta versus Muta. You kind of just like get in range and stay in range. And wow, that's actually really huge, because now you're going to need some amount of anti-air to come out here for herO, because he actually just has barely anything that shoots up. He's got 4 Stalkers versus what is that, like 8 or 9 Phoenixes?
This is a bit of a problem. He needs to get some more Phoenixes in here, and uh-oh, gonna come on in and pick up a bunch of these probes right from the get-go. Down goes the Mothership Core. Only 2 overcharges do come down, but even so, a nice bit of damage for SOS.
I'm surprised he didn't just fly into the main at that point. I mean, no Mothership Core, no overcharges, and like I said, only like 3 or 4 Stalkers, so yikes. In the meantime, whoa, that was a
That was an interesting
ninja
sound you
observer.
made.
That's my ninja noise. That's what happens when units just barely avoid something or other. Okay, well, that's not how you highlight your advantage. Loses a couple of Phoenixes.
Yeah, he was thinking about going for the Immortal, but actually maybe he misclicked it because he wanted to go for the Sentries. But look at how much damage he's getting done now.
Oh my god.
Picks up a Sentry. This is 12 probes. He is going to lose maybe 3 Phoenixes here, 4 Phoenixes, but definitely a good trade for him.
Yeah, and in the meantime, SOS actually going up to 2 Void Rays also on their way. So really committing kind of here to the more heavily to the Sky Toss, at least I'm used to seeing. But he's going for Ground Army as well as LLEGs. Just now being started. And he does actually have forces at home to defend this inevitable counterattack. But man, look at this damage these Phoenixes are doing. I mean, that's almost insurmountable.
Look at the worker count right now. It's 45 to 35. This is a nice catch.
That's one way to lose an advantage.
Very nice catch.
Okay, so there's 1 Void Ray at home to defend, but see if herO decides to pull back how herO decides to deal with these Phoenixes. Does he worry about them coming back, or is he just going to try to push up here onto the high ground? It's like overcharged force fields will stop him.
Yeah, it's interesting that SOS is keeping his Phoenixes across the map. He's not going to try to use them to pick up any units. Oh, does he have enough energy? Okay, it doesn't matter. He does have enough depth to stop that probe. And so herO cannot even expand ahead of SOS. And herO just going to go back home with his tail between his legs.
Man, herO is in a really rough spot right now, Valdez. Continuing to lose probes. He's just keeps on hemorrhaging them. Even still, with all those probes going down, he's less than 10 workers behind. So, I mean, that's actually pretty impressive. But I think when it comes to the army at this point, these Phoenixes, after having taken out SOS's Phoenixes, or herO's Phoenixes, man, I'm still doing that. After having taken out herO's Phoenixes early, they just have complete air control, not complete ground control. You got to watch out for those Stalkers, but able to get a lot of damage done.
Yeah, just SOS playing this so beautifully, right from baiting in herO into the base, winning the Phoenix War. Now he's miles ahead. And I love that he doesn't move across the map and go for an attack either. He's like, okay, I'll just expand with you. I'm so far ahead right now that it's you that has to do the attacking, you that has to do the catching up, and I'll just sit back and milk that advantage that I have.
So herO going into High Templar and Storm here is this next Next tech route, both players up on 3 bases. Phoenix is continuing to try to get damage done, but this time herO is ready and waiting and is going to usher them back out. Lots of very well-positioned stalkers.
Oh, he's going for the High Templar.
Oh
He's
my
going to
God.
get one, and there goes the second one.
Wow.
And look at that. He only loses 1 Phoenix, too.
Sickest snipes right there, and that's really going to delay the tech. It doesn't matter if you've upgraded Storm, if you have no units to use that. And of course, now the big push coming in here for sOs. 3 Void Rays out there, maybe 4. I didn't catch the exact count. Yeah, 3 Void Rays here, along with a very sizable Zealot leg upgraded army here. You can blink as far as you want to a wave. These Zealots are really going to close in on this army.
Yeah, here they come, closing on in. Going to pick up all the High Templar and the Sentries with this Phoenixes.
My God.
Getting in a good position here, though, is herO, but isn't going to be enough to stop. sOs, I think, smartly here, does back off for now and heads towards that 3rd base.
Yeah, he's just going to give that Zealot charge upgrade time to cool down. There they go, right back in on top of those very vulnerable Stalkers. Lifting up these Immortals here, gets one of them, and will go down without a fight.
Yeah, picks up another one, and now all we have is Stalkers left over. Going to pick up that last Immortal, and once again just backs off. He's not going to be baited up that ramp, and he does have the Warp Prism nearby. GG, sOs goes up 2-0.
Wow, great catch there on those early Phoenixes. sOs taking another win, up 2-0 in this round of 8 best of 5.
You were talking about maybe herO wanting to go home a little bit faster with that cannon rush, but he's given sOs a ticket here to the round of 4, essentially, unless he can win 3 in a row. I mean, we've had 2 reverse all kills and best of 5s. herO is going to have to be number 3 if he wants a chance.
But is it a golden ticket, Valdez? Does it also get you into Willy Wonka's factory? That's what would really matter to me. It's like, I mean, GSL is important, right? But you got to get that chocolate. Either way, we're looking for the sweet taste of victory, or the, I guess the golden ticketless chocolatey taste of defeat here for herO. He's got to make it happen now or never. As we get into game number 3, certainly looking very, very, I guess, kind of puzzling. herO making a couple of interesting decisions. He ran all of his Phoenix in and lost them all early. Went for that cannon rush. What's in store here for game 3, Valdez?
He's going to have to turn it around somehow, some way, and we are going into Cactus Valley for game number 3. This is going to have to be the springboard with which herO uses to get to the top. Can he do it? Let's find out in game 3.
Here we go on Cactus Valley. This is
Roots Gaming, herO.
pretty sure they say Roots Gaming, right?
Yeah, I heard that as well. Roots Gaming.
Multiple roots, many roots, but just one seed. His opponent
Yeah.
in the red.
Jin Air Green Wings, sOs.
All right, there we go. Lots of sOs fans in the crowd. Of course, I would be an sOs fan too, because he's up 2-0 in the series, and he's actually just looking so strong. See what I did there? So has sOs in
Ooh,
it.
I like that.
I'm trying as hard as I can, man. All right, so already a deviation in build, so we will not have the same mirror matchup as we did in game number 2, with an early expansion here from herO. Yikes, that is going to be very ahead of schedule. Standard 2 gates coming up here for sOs on the other side.
And he gets lucky that sOs does not scout this first. He actually goes the total opposite way with the scouting probe. And herO's even going to get the scouting information first right after putting down that Nexus. So
Four-player
he's taking a risk.
Man.
He's taking a risk, and it's paying off for now.
Yeah, and there we go. Already getting a scout off on exactly how many probes are being made. No, I'm just kidding. He's getting a lot more information. He sees the 2 gates coming up, and eventually this probe will make it into herO's base. And see that there is, in fact, a natural up, so it's going to be on herO to make his base, and as White Ross said, then defense it.
Yes, can he defense it here? That's the real question. And how aggressive does sOs want to go? He's going to start off with 2 Adepts, and just now does he see that Nexus, and now he knows 100% what's going on here. How hard will he commit? That's really the question for me.
Well, there's no cannons already in this game, so we're already seeing a different game than game number 1. Always love my 1 minute in base cannon games. Those are super sick. All right, so what's going to be the follow up here? Does he decide to just tech it up and try to one base it and use that advantage, or will he try to just expand and try to keep up?
Well, it looks like for now we have a Stargate on the way, but we already have 2 Stalkers coming out here for herO. 2 Adepts on the map for sOs. He will try to get into the base and do some economic damage to try to catch up with the lead in economy that herO does have.
Somewhere Artosis knows exactly which builds these guys are going for, and she's like, why don't you just say which build this is? Oh my god! I'm actually just excited to see how hard this is going to be punished, or if it really is. Like you said, so 2 Stalkers already have Valdez, so turns out Adepts don't shoot up, so that Mothership Core will be able to eventually push them both away.
Yeah, not the best control there. And look at this. Here comes the probe of herO, and he sees the Stargate.
Literally a herO probe coming in there to scout that out. So he knows exactly what's coming up, and that'll at least give him the heads up to say, hey, probably better put these Stalkers in position.
And he's going to spread them out 2 and 2. Just keep 2 up the ramp. Have them near enough to the natural just in case any more aggression comes on in. We do have the Nexus for sOs coming on up, and this is what I was talking about. It really needs to get a lot of damage done with these Adepts. Not the best targeting on the Adepts, so they are going to get 5 kills in total. Not a terrible trade there.
I mean, that's actually okay to take down those early probes. He's going to have this Oracle coming in. So I remember a lot of talk recently on whether or not this was just a, who can kill more of your opponent's workers games. It doesn't matter about your army. Turns out it actually does matter about your army, but losing this Oracle would actually be huge. A couple more shots. Gets out with 30 HP.
A very nice feeling for sOs that he can keep that alive because he can group it up with his second Oracle, a Void Ray that's on the way. Love the focus on Void Ray we're seeing out of sOs, adding that into his composition in general. And it looks like this will just transition into a pretty normal game. sOs is still looking for some damage, but love the spread here from herO, trying to deny these Oracles.
What if I fly in with 2 Oracles this time? Oh my god, okay, this damage is actually so sick. He's going to get in there. Will he get out with this Oracle again? Yes!
Oh, wow.
Oh my god, 12 hit points.
What is going on? sOs is playing so well, and herO, he had a lot of Stalkers there, but he felt forced to split them up. Wasn't expecting the second Oracle, perhaps. And especially with the Mothership Core at the natural, I feel like he should have had more Stalkers in the main base. But either way, sOs has more than taken the lead now in the worker count and in his economy. So in a pretty good spot now.
Yep, about 10 workers. He's going Glaives, so really committing here to this ground force. Meanwhile, Void Ray out for sOs, so that'll definitely be nice to have there if he can protect it from these Stalkers. Immortal out here for herO. Keep in mind, even though this early economic harass has been done, herO did have the much faster Nexus, so he was able to mine from that earlier. I'm not sure exactly how that works out on the graph, but he did have that up a little bit ahead of schedule. Still insane amounts of economic damage done, so here comes herO trying to make it count.
Very important scout here for sOs. This is going to be a hard hold, and this is going to be a very big push from herO. He stopped at 33 workers. He has the Warp Prism and a ton of gateways out. We're going to have to see a pretty fantastic hold from sOs. He needs more pylons.
Well, he's going to go ahead and pop that overcharge prematurely. These Adepts actually making it all the way into the main.
He couldn't actually make the wall in time, so that is just a ton of Adepts pushing on in. The Immortal and Stalker army is knocking on the front door as well. These Adepts, though, they are going to be kind of countered here, or rather cornered, I should say. They do make their way towards the main army once again, but look at this. Now all the pylons are down, and how is sOs going to hold this?
Oh my god! Are you kidding me?
Stasis Ward. I guess that's one way to do it.
Wait, he just blinked out of the stasis. Wait, can you... Wait, what? I did see that correctly, right? He blinked out of the stasis ward.
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, there are still some Stalkers that are stasis there.
Okay, I'm going to have to go back and watch that, but oh my god, thickest stasis ward timing of life, and now we have to make sure that he's able to hold on here. He did have a Warp Prism, if I'm not mistaken, here for the reinforcement, so...
He does.
Yeah, he will be continuing the Warp.
SOS
units.
still on point with the pylon at the top of his ramp, but can he hold this off? That's the real question. That Void Ray is still alive somehow. The Oracle with no energy, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to hold this one. Just way too many army units here for herO.
Somehow the Oracle's still alive here at the very end. Mothership Core will go down, not before throwing out an last second overcharge, and again, no block on top of the ramp.
Yeah, this time, this may just be a little bit too much. All the probes in the main are going to go down. The Nexus at the front door will also be taken out. That should be game number 3 going to herO. GG.
GG indeed, Valdez. herO coming back at the 11th hour, taking game number 3, taking us to a game number 4. herO fans everywhere rejoice. The series continues.
Can he make it work? Just like some of his counterparts on the other side of the bracket that got a couple of reverse all kills.
Oh my god, I'm glad you mentioned that, Valdez. This is certainly a trend we're starting to see in GSL, but much like the question of when does a pile become a heap, when does a trend become a trend? I guess it's 3 games and more, so.
Yeah, could be.
Wow.
So.
All right, well we're through our first 3 games in this best of 5. Valdez, thoughts so far? Other than just dropping your jaw on the floor.
I love the tenacity out of herO to say, okay, we're going into game 3. It's Cactus Valley, huge map, 4-player map. I can get away with the Nexus first and try to make that work.
Well, we're going to get away with a commercial break, so see you guys soon.
You make me feel like a wild child.
부동 부동산을 구하는 새로운 자세. 부동산은 직방부터 직방.
부동산을 구하는 새로운 자세. 부동산은 직방부터 직방.
마음이 가는 대로 즐겁고 신나게 쓰자. 캠퍼스 시리즈.
저런 냄새가 담배다. 된장찌개 먹는 저런 냄새가.
하면 뭐다? 너 냄새 난다고. 베브리즈 맨으로 남자 5대 냄새 파괴. 베브리즈 맨.
부동 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 부동산을 구하는 새로운 자세. 부동산은 직방부터 직방.
빛의 힘을 보여드리죠.
반갑네.
얘들아, 힘을 빌려줘. 누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지. 판타지 마스터즈 2.
Hot 6 GSL Season 1 Code S. When it's silver
Is the hero bug spray too much for La Cucaracha? Brendan, I don't know, but it was a nice last-second win there in game number 3 to keep our series alive. herO coming out with a win and really able to give sOs a little bit of his own medicine.
Yeah, the series right now is 1-2 in favor of sOs. And we were saying before, can herO pull off the reverse all sweep? The reverse sweep?
I
It's
guess
not
it's
reverse
a
all kill.
Yeah,
It's
I keep calling it a reverse all kill. It's more of like a reverse sweep. But,
Yeah.
I mean, we've already seen it happen twice with 2 very uphill battles in the round of 8. Now here we get into our could be deciding game number 4. sOs is mortal. Cucarachas do bleed. And he's going to have to bring it home here in game number 4. Otherwise, we'll be going to that last-second Game 5 ace match. Well, that's also not the right term for it, but we'll see if herO can tie the series up and mount one of the more formidable comebacks, or if sOs can close it out, take us to a game number... I mean, I guess that would be the last game.
Yep, that would be game 5.
Okay. All right, guys, here we go. Game number 4. herO versus sOs coming up in this GSL round of 8. herO in the blue.
Roots Gaming herO.
That was supposed to be a joke, but it was actually just a player name. Okay, well, there he is, herO with the Root jersey on. Glad to see him representing that organization here in GSL. His opponent representing one of the only Korean teams left in Korea.
Jin Air Green Wings sOs.
Yeah.
Big cheers for both players, actually. A lot of international fans here cheering for herO, as he does represent that organization. And of course, sOs, one of the most winningest players in GSL. Still hasn't caught up to MC yet,
Yeah.
but one day.
Winningest is a word, right? It always surprises me.
They always
like,
use that in baseball, but
Yeah.
in 0 other sports. I don't know.
That's the reason. Like, I've heard it so much, so I just assume that it's a real word. But it almost, in my mind, I'm like, no, that can't be a real word, but it is. The winningest. The most winningest, maybe not, but the winningest team.
Mostest
The team that has
winningest.
won the most.
There we go. We'll figure out how to speak English here eventually, guys. Sorry it's taken us so many games.
We've been in Korea too long.
Yeah, this
We've
is how you
forgotten
know that
to
they
speak
didn't
English.
hire us for our ability to speak. That's for sure.
What did they hire us for then, Rapid? Oh, man. The Vapid
Yeah,
caster
this is
duo
where we're
coming
living
to
up
you
to
live,
the
guys.
Vapid caster name. All right, Vapid casting. There we go. I'm gonna change my Twitter name after this. All right, so we're having early scouts here, and it does appear, at least Valdez, as if this will be mirrored builds once again.
Well, let's find out.
If history does
Looks
in fact
like it.
repeat itself, I think SOS will be doing pretty well right now. But at least this is not a 4-player map, and each player knows exactly where to scout each other out.
Yeah, and it looks like actually a Stargate coming out here pretty fast for herO, whereas SOS did go for the Mothership Core, more of a standard build. A faster Stargate coming out here. We'll see what herO will do with that.
Okay, well, also a Stalker on the way against the 2 Adepts that are now being produced. Always interesting to see builds deviate and kind of think about the reasons why here. For herO, he was the one that said he enjoyed more like winning because your control was better. So he goes for compositions which is accentuate that. Lots of Phoenixes, lots of Blink Stalkers. On the other side, I mean, SOS has been a really big fan of that walk up and kill you kind of build. Also probably not a big fan of those cannon rushes like happened in game number 2. But he was able to take, or game number 1, he was able to take that game down and bring us to this series here. And now our first 2 Adepts shading against each other. It's like, wait, no, I actually want these shades to go this way.
Yeah, Shade's going in the wrong direction. I don't think, he actually completes it
Oh,
here.
wow, into an overcharge. Those are 2 very dead Adepts.
Committing heavily to the economic damage, and he doesn't even get the scout of the Stargate.
Oh my god, this is actually so bad. herO in a great spot right now. He cleans up his opponent's army that's out on the map. He's got his natural on the way, and none of that has been scouted here so far by SOS.
Yeah, this is a bit of a rough spot. herO going to follow up with a Phoenix. And the only thing he's really got going for him right now is an earlier Robotics and earlier Nexus. But if he cannot hold off the damage from this Oracle, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Going to commit to more Adepts coming in here to scout the Nexus timing.
And these shades, a big nerf there to their vision range, but because they complete the shade once again, just to try to take out any probes, that's not going to work. And instead of going for harass, just a nice tag there by the Oracle, and that will actually show herO what's coming his way.
So Mothership Core in position.
Wait, no, he
as
actually
SOS
didn't
did get
see
that out.
the robotics facility.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
So, well, he's going to see it now as he comes back around, and the Mothership Core is out of position. We'll see how much damage this can get done. 3 probes, 4 probes. Finally, the overcharge comes down, and he saves the Oracle as well.
Really great Oracle control so far this series. Game number 2, 2 Phoenixes versus Mothership Core, but he's not going to sacrifice them.
Kind of interesting that Mothership Core is getting very low, and it has a lot of energy. And if he could have taken that out and maybe go for a follow-up push, but it doesn't look like that is his idea here. Just wants to keep those Phoenixes alive and continue doing consistent damage.
Yeah, we've really seen a good commitment from both players this game on worker harassment. I think it's definitely safe to say that herO's a little bit more on top of that. Oh my god, that probe body and the physics had a very interesting interaction. Kind of flinging its dead husk of a corpse elsewhere on the map.
It's had enough.
Certainly has. 4 Phoenixes this time around, continuing to run in and lift up probes. Take a look at the worker count. An over 10 worker lead, and it's even being lengthened here with 2 more probes going down. This is insane amounts of harassment here. I mean, the herO is just in a great spot already.
Yeah, fantastic job with this early Stargate play, and now trying to snipe out that Mothership Core, getting pretty close. Still 100 total health on that. And it looks like finally SOS might be able to stabilize. Maybe a couple more probes here and there that herO can get. But even though his Nexus was slightly ahead, it doesn't matter. herO is in a fantastic spot right now.
I mean, if there's one player that can be in an adverse situation and stabilize afterwards, it is definitely SOS after surviving that cannon rush earlier on. If he weren't already called like Kukaraja, we could call him like the, what is it called, the gyroscope? That thing that stabilizes really well. I don't know.
I'm not sure if
I
it's
didn't
a
pay attention to
gyroscope.
physics class, Valdez. Definitely not my favorite place to be. All right, well, this actually is. And watching 2 of the best Protoss players on literally planet Earth. Although I guess they just found a few more planets out there, so There might be other planets that we play StarCraft on eventually. But this is the one we're at right now, and it certainly seems as if herO is really liking his Sky Toss. He's continuing to commit with Void Rays coming out on the way.
And what is the play for sOs? I mean, he has one pylon down in the bottom right, and he kept his probe there. So I thought he was going to make something, maybe a Dark Shrine. Okay, there we go.
Indeed it is.
Starting somewhere. Okay, there it is.
One of my favorite things to see with a Dark Shrine, because you only need the building to be built in order to build Dark Templar, it doesn't have to be powered, is when players send like a warp prism with a probe in it out on across the map. And you create the warp field, start building the Dark Shrine, and then move the warp prism, because it'll continue building even if it's not powered. And you don't need to have power to it in order to build your DTs. So always cool to see that, but this time around it is just a pylon powering it, and oh no, Valdez, these Phoenix right on route.
They're gonna fly
How
straight
does he
to
know? How does he know, Valdez?
He clicked that location.
Okay.
What is going on?
I mean, that is some star sense right there.
That's unbelievable.
That's so insane. So he knows exactly what's coming his way.
It's not like he was even on a flight path to go harass the natural or the third, or he clicked right next to the pylon. So somehow, some way, he was able to know. And it looks like sOs might not even have time to warp in some DT. He's going to have to do it right away.
I mean, he will at least get a warp in off if he has saved that timing, but it doesn't look like it. It's unpowered, but it's still built. No DT is coming out of the Dark Shrine.
Just letting it go. Hiding that warp prism. He says, okay, he should have some stuff at home ready to defend against some DTs because he sees this. But maybe if I can hide my warp prism for a while, I can get some damage done later on. So just taking the trade, taking the loss for now, and chances of some risky rewards a little bit later on.
I mean, I don't want to call it too early, Valdez, but the GSL curse of reverse sweeps could actually be in effect here. herO just having some, I guess, kind of weird strats to start off. Game number one was, you know, really strange off the bat, or off the beaten path. There we go. But here we go, herO pushing forward. He's got those two very important Void Rays against a primarily adept Immortal army. That's going to be a big deal if those Stalkers do go down and can't hit the Void Rays, which will eventually just kill everything. Archons now warping in, or I guess morphing in.
The Archons are so important here, especially against this many Adepts in the front line for sOs. sOs, he's just going to go for it, but look at all the lifts in the back line, picking up the Immortals, picking up the Stalkers.
Needs to micro those Void Rays away from the Archons that are hitting them. If he does do that, oh my god! Sickest Stasis will go off, and that is going to swing this fight in herO's favor.
Oh man, that might just be it. I mean, more warp-ins here for sOs, but he is hurting. And once that Stasis Sword does wear off, but he's actually leaving.
Well, he recognizes the warp-in disadvantage there. He does actually need to continue to build up his army here. I love how effective those Void Rays have been in this fight. He did get them a little bit damaged by those Archons early on, but now coming back into the base, seeing the continual, I guess, not recall, because that's actually a spell, but recalling his army physically, not via the spell, back to his base at home to defend.
It's an interesting spot because he may have been able to win that fight anyway, but because he had his third base up and he knew that sOs didn't, he's like, I don't need to commit here, I can just back off.
Somewhere the ghost of Artosis across the world.
The ghost? I mean, he's still alive. Like,
feels a smile creep across his face, and he goes, somewhere, a nerd that's ahead is getting more ahead. That's what's happening right here. herO going back, solidifying his advantage, saying, look, I will just win. I have more money. Screw the rules. I have money. That's what's happening right here.
sOs, he is going to try to take the fight once again, but a bit of a hard one here. He's going to warp in the back. Doesn't have the best concave. Coming from behind are some more Adepts of herO.
They came from behind. They are going to get right in on top of sOs's army, which surprisingly is actually doing fairly well here.
Yeah, it's interesting because he had so many Adepts, not that many Stalkers, but as the fight went on, it looked like he warped in more Stalkers.
Yep.
But those 4 Immortals in the back weren't doing critical amounts of damage, it seemed. He needs more Archons, herO, to deal with these Adepts. I mean, at this point, I suppose sOs has lost a lot of his Adepts. but he should be replacing those lost units with more Adepts, so definitely needs some Archons in the mix. SOS still on 2 bases, has not made a 3rd base, really needs to win right here.
Well, it's going to be up to him. We're going to see what could be the final engage of this game. herO with more units on the ground, and GG! herO does it, and will make his way to the final game 5. Can he complete the comeback, Valdez?
Look at the smile on his face. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Feels good, man. If you guys are a fan of either Root Gaming or herO, you have to be happy with what was just a solid, straight-up win.
Fantastic play. Really just sweeping the games out from underneath SOS's grasp, and we're going to a final game now, and SOS, he was watching those other games. He's like, wow, sucks to be those guys that lost when they were up 2-0, right? And now he's like, oh, wait, I'm one of them now.
That's one of those, am I out of am I out of touch? No, it's the kids who are wrong. No, man, you are actually at risk of falling to the same vulnerability that 2 of the most invincible players have already. TY Innovation no longer in the GSL Code S. SOS 1 loss away from completing or continuing that trend.
And we are going to be going to Abyssal Reef for game number 5.
Takes us longer to load that map because we have to like fill the map up with water so it's underwater.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It's like a fishbowl, but we put players in it instead of fish. We just fill it all the way up.
herO, he's dressed for the occasion, wearing his blue Root jersey.
I made a Root fan sign when he was playing last time around, and I tried to draw that little seed. Turns out it's actually just the hardest team logo to draw in the world. Green Wings, you just draw like the big letters and stuff, but Root had to be artistic. All right, here we go, guys. Game number 5, herO versus SOS. In the blue,
Roots Gaming, herO.
All the Roots gaming together here. herO representing his new team in the GSL Code S round of 8. His opponent in the red.
Jin Air Green Wings, SOS.
This is when like the La Cucaracha is like had all of its legs pulled off. It's like upside down. It's like struggling. Somehow it could still stay alive, but it is definitely hurting, reeling from 2 losses in a row after going up in 2 very dominant games. Oh my God, Brendan.
This is like the worst feeling for SOS, right? You're 1 game away, and then you just kind of blow it 2 in a row, and you're like, uh-oh. You start to get nervous. You can feel the pressure from the crowd. But for me, I mean, both of these players actually they've been on the big stage many times. I don't feel like SOS is going to get nervous and drop the ball here. If I had to predict, I still think SOS is going to win this game 5, but man, herO, he's putting on a show, you know? It's like he goes for the cannon rush, and then he loses game 2 pretty one-sidedly, throwing his Phoenixes away, and then it's like, oh wait, no, I was just going for the reverse sweep, guys.
Right,
don't worry about it.
Most important moment of the game coming up, Brennan. No handshake in the middle. The probes path the opposite way around that school of fish. My thought always is, Brennan, is not only how are you not afraid of that giant shark shadow. I want to say that's like ESV Space Shark, if you guys remember that shark from a long time ago.
Space Shark.
Yeah, there was a space shark. It was like the I forget what was the. Somebody out there like tweeted us and let us know like what was the map that the space shark was on. This is like a sick shout out to that really old school map.
Look at this play. hero's gonna drop a Nexus in the face of SOS's probe. Doesn't make 2 Adepts to start.
Now, one thing, if you're like, I remember MC used to do this a lot, where you start the Nexus right as the scouting probe goes in, and once you deal with the probe, you cancel the Nexus and all in. Now, we're not in the same territory of 4-gating.
Yeah.
Which is, so things are going to be a little bit different, but, I mean, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, to use the vernacular. herO going up with this extra Nexus.
Oh, this is fantastic. He does get the scout that there is no Nexus coming up, which is a nice little scout, but he does not get up into the main base. Nicely denied by sOs, and there's a Mothership Core here for herO. sOs is not going to commit to the Shade. Looks like he's getting to work on that very important forward pylon.
All right, so pushing back these Adepts. Nice to split the Stalker damage on the Adepts, so both of their shields recharge faster. I don't know if that'll actually matter, but the Shade completes in the back line once again. Only one probe going down, though, Valdez, so I don't know if that was really worth it.
Yeah, he gets one probe, he forces an overcharge, and he tries to save the second Adept.
Oh, no way. Okay, that is gonna go down. There it is.
So he loses 2 Adepts on what could have been a pretty strong push with the Resonating Glaives for 1 probe and an overcharge. Starts his own Nexus behind herO. I think he's going to have to get a little bit more damage done than he already did.
I mean, does this not seem like game number 4 all over again? I mean, one player gets the faster Nexus, one player goes for the more aggressive start, and a very aggressive forward pylon being warped in for sOs.
We'll see what he wants to put down there.
Okay, I wasn't sure if sOs was stuck in always complete your Shade mode, but there were actually no probes there. Here comes the main art of the probes over there.
And we do have a robotics facility being made in the main here for sOs.
There are probes there at sOs. You can complete that Shade. Of course, that one would have been probably much worse. Continuing this warp, and this is a lot of Adepts, Valdez. I hear they are good units. However, there's an almost equivalent number of Stalkers out here. And Mothership Core. Wait, does he have actually Mothership Core? Yeah, there it is. So missed that earlier on. So this is going to be rough for sOs to try to make a dent here.
Yeah, I wonder what the play is. I thought maybe he was just going to make an obscene amount of Adepts and Shade on top of all the probes and just go for it. And as I say that, well, here we go. He's going to go for the Stalkers instead.
Wait, yeah, he's not targeting. Okay, that's not a...
He's just fighting the Stalkers. With Resonating Glaives, I think you can win this fight. And more Stalkers coming on in. It looks like he wants to take a trade and then back off. Maybe you get one more Stalker.
No,
quite.
He does not. All right, so that was actually not that great a trade, and also slow warp-ins. Not going to get your units there much more quickly. Probes transferring back once again to this natural, and I mean, I don't know about you, Brendan, but it certainly looks like with Resonating Glaives of his own started up there behind, herO might be thinking he has this, not overreacting to the Shade, just keeping it 300.
Yeah, very interesting spot in this game where he decides to take that trade with the Adepts against Stalkers. You don't see that all too often. Is he going to commit to this Shade in the main? Yes, he will.
Well, he's trying to force out maybe overcharges here. He hasn't, yeah, there comes the Shade to retreat back again. But he's actually going to lose valuable Adepts here. Sniping off the sentries,
Look
though.
at the block.
A big pick, and there's a block!
There's a block on the ramp with the Shades of his own Adepts, but it ends up just killing his own 2 Adepts. But these Stalkers are on the chase now to try to get that follow-up damage, and that they will.
Yeah, Stalkers with their pony trot legs trying to get across the map as fast as possible. We'll pick off several of those Stalkers. Yeah, I'm not sure that's exactly how the wall was supposed to work. But even still, great hold, and that's really all sOs, or all herO rather, has to do. Gateway explosion time, Valdez. But it's happening on both sides of the map.
Yeah, the one thing that sOs does have in his favor is that there are a lot of Stalkers on the side of herO, and he's making his own Immortals, whereas herO, I'm not even sure that he has a robotics facility. All right, he does. He does have an Observer, but he hasn't made any Immortals here in this fight, so could be smart. I mean, he is only going up against Adepts here.
Oh, no. Picking off the War Prison would be huge. A couple more shots, and he does it!
Oh, boy. Big mistake for sOs. He flies it straight in, and these guys are passing each other in the night, but herO has a much better position. He is a lot closer to the base of sOs right now, and he's going to get on top of it.
Yeah, he'll be able to pick off these pylons, so these overcharges will really just not be that effective. Warp-in coming in. It's at a different pylon, so thankfully those Warp-ins will complete, but here comes the main force of sOs into the base, but a sick force field stops the Immortal from getting in.
And that pylon is going to take a long time to go down with that force field with no Immortal hitting it. And herO now in the main base, there are some Adepts that have gotten in here to try to defend. The Mothership Core needs to get some overcharges down, and that he does. Fights going on both sides of the map.
Yeah, focusing that Immortal down. The Immortal will fall. sOs in Dangerville as he does get shaded on top of the Adepts falling, and herO might be on his way to our 3rd reverse sweep.
It's going to be close, though. Look at how many workers herO has lost in this game. It's 22 to 39. He doesn't have much of an economy, and this is a really big map. So herO, you know, he needs to try to counterattack across this gigantic map, but
no.
I don't think he's going to get there in time.
Yeah, it's going to be about whether or not that worker disadvantage allows sOs to build more units, shading forward. At the same time, that sOs retreats. Wait,
what? It's in the back. Maybe he was trying to get some reinforcement units, but he's not going to be in position to defend this, and maybe this counterattack is actually going to work. It's going to be very, very close.
Okay, nice barrier there. On the Immortal, he saves it with a Warp Prism, pulls it back behind this wall of Adepts. There's so many Adepts here for sOs. Can herO hang on?
It doesn't look like it. Look at the army supply, and he's even doing more damage to the base of herO, and he's going to be able to clean this up. It looks like sOs is held.
Oh my God, Brendan! Look at the worker supply. It's so in sOs's favor. He's gonna try to even that up by dropping there in the main. Not a lot that shoots up here though, so sOs will need to pull back to defend. The game continues, but this push from sOs might just be too much to hold.
herO has 14 army supply. Look at all these Adepts. They've made it across the map. There's no force field. It looks like sOs is going to be able to take it in Game 5. He's done it.
God.
He's held on where other players have not been able to.
It looked so close there for so long, Valdez, but with another big shade into the main, even just this worker harass is just too much to deal with. herO pushed out of his own main base, and sOs poised to take this victory.
Looks like it. Gonna warp in a bunch more units, and he's breathing a huge sigh of relief right about now after allowing herO to get within one game of the victory.
Oh my God. The curse is lifted. It certainly seems like that. And, I mean, sOs just with way too much here on the ground, warping in more into herO's base. GG! La Cucaracha survives!
And sOs goes up to another round 4 of the GSL Code S. That is the smile of a very, very happy and relieved man.
Oh my God, so close. And after 2 years ago today, putting down the boppening on herO, coming back, like sOs said in his interview, herO always improving every time they face off. But once again, it is sOs that comes out on top, and you gotta know there's gonna be some very friendly words between these two longtime rivals.
Yeah, it looks like he was just saying, okay, good job, good job. Gonna go over there, give him a little pat on the back, say, hey, I've done it again. Sorry, bro.
And of course, after you play against each other for this long, you know they do have to be pretty good friends by this point. As much as it's cool to hype up the trash talk, you do actually have some great relationships here between the players in the GSL.
That was a very bittersweet smile on the face of herO, though. He's like, oh, I was so close, and again, I lose to this guy. Like, what? How can this happen?
Victory snatched from the jaws of defeat. That'll send us over to our player interview. With the winning player, sOs.
김유진 선수 이야기 나눠보겠습니다. 축하드립니다.
네, 감사합니다.
So you didn't let the reverse sweep happen. Sweep.
자, 역시
Congratulations.
상성은
Says thank you.
강하네요. 먼저 소감부터 들어볼게요.
우선 2대0으로
How do you feel after winning the series?
나쁘지 않았었는데 준호가 좀 날카롭게 해서 져가지고
I was winning 2-0.
그래도 이기면
was going well.
생각했는데
네.
2대2 타이를 만들고 나서는
On the third map, his attack was quite unexpected, so
강했으니까
I was not able to hold that.
아 설마 나도 저렇게 되지
And on
않을까
the fourth map,
생각했는데
네.
이겨서 다행인 것 같아요.
And the fourth map really reminded me of old matches that me and herO have had.
김유진 선수 평정심 잃지 않을까 했는데 여기서 이 클래스가 참 나왔습니다. 자, 앞서 이 3세 때 무난하게 또 이길 줄 아셨다고 하셨어요. 그런데 전 사도가 그 정지장 소음을 거의 때 깜짝 놀랐거든요. 어떠셨어요?
So you said you were going to win in a 3-0. You said you were going to win that third set. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
네.
그 손끝에 미스가 있어가지고
I should have built 3 pylons in the entrance of my base, but
패배의 원인이
I didn't.
생각하고 있습니다.
That was the big mistake.
세트에서는 상대가 완전히
The major reason why I lost that game.
변수를 만들기 위해서 암흑성소 몰래 지었는데
pylons,
그것까지
Paradoxes.
찾아내는 상대를 보고 좀 깜짝 놀라셨을 거예요. 이 세트는 어떤 점이 아쉬우셨는지.
그 세트는
And you were going for DTs in game number 4, but he scouted it. It was a very risky play trying to catch up, but it did not pay off.
놓으려고 했었는데 상대 병력이 그까지 온 거를 전혀 눈치를 못해서 좀 돈 낭비가 됐던 것 같아요.
네, 그럼에도 불구하고 오늘 승리할 수 있었던 배경, 확실히 김유진 선수는 머리가 굉장히 좋으신 것 같아요. 2세트에서도
Yeah, I was pretty far behind on economy, and I was just using that to try to catch up. But once he scouted it, the game was over essentially.
확실히 경기력이 올라왔다 이렇게 느껴졌었는데요. 그럼에도 불구하고 상대의 준비성은 참 좋았습니다.
Throughout your games, you seem to make like the best decision for the position that you're in.
8강에서 만났을 때는
But even so,
안일하게
you still
준비를
had
했던
a
것 같아요.
back and forth
이번에는
game
둘다
against herO. How did
준비를
you
열심히 해서
come back?
그런지 좀 일반적인 게임이 나오지는 않고 좀 독특한 게임이 나왔던
So I can really feel that both of us prepared so much for this matchup.
아주 이제 많이 올라온 것 같아서 4강전이 더 흥미진진해 보입니다. 이제 어윤수 선수를
Like I
만나요.
could just feel his practice coming through during the entire series.
6대6
So now you're going to
상황인데
go up against
어윤수
Sue
선수를
in the round
만난
of
점
4.
어떻게 보세요?
우선
So how do you think about your opponent, and what do you think your chances are?
4강까지 올라온 거 보니까 최근에 연습 많이 했던 것 같고
네.
둘 다 이제 제가 볼 때 마지막 불꽃이라고 생각하는데
네.
4강에서 이긴 사람이 꼭
Since he was able to make it to the semifinals,
이미
it definitely looks like he's been practicing a lot.
이 진영 쪽에서는 이미 결승 가 있는 것 같아요. 김유희 선수 이렇게 존재가 없는 선수 아니니까
Since Sue is invincible
각오를
until the finals,
들어보겠습니다. 4강전 각오
Sue fans are always like, or already like rather, oh, he's made it to the finals.
종발을 이용해도
So
이해해주려
any words?
네, 종발을
To the fans,
이용해주렴 이렇게 간략하게
anything going into the
해주셨는데요.
semifinals?
다시 한번 4강전
He says, "Hey, Sue,
팬들에게 마지막으로 한마디 부탁드립니다.
I will take advantage of my race." Oh boy, not holding back on the trash talk.
4강까지 온 거 보니까
Last words here to the fans.
팬분들도 많이 응원해 주셨으니까 4강에 온 거 같고 4강 온 만큼
So I think my
결승 꼭 갈 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
My-
감사합니다.
play has been a little bit
이렇게 또 한번
degrading. You know, it hasn't been as good as in the past. But since I've already made it to the semifinals, I'll try to show good games and
먼저 오프라인
do well for my
이벤트입니다. 경기 후
fans.
선물 추첨과 함께 치어링
Wow.
이벤트를
Well,
진행해
definitely good
주시고요.
games have
멋진
been
치어
shown
프로그램
here today already, all as it should be. SOS surviving to make it to another round of 4. Interesting that he mentions that finals buff that Sue has.
Yeah. Well, you know, getting to the finals buff, essentially. And
That
then
is
he gets
true.
to the finals and then he loses that buff. It's kind of sad that it runs out that quickly. Maybe he needs to upgrade it.
Wow. Well, that's going to do it for our first Best of 5, guys. Stick around because we have one more round of 8 Best of 5 coming up. It'll be Ryung taking on Maru when we return.